they've conceded the highest percentage of goals from outside the box in the league, which is a remarkable stat, really. They're like 10% higher than anyone else. So it's far and away they're the worst side when it comes to goals from outside the box. That's a really clear weakness. Hello, welcome back to 885 Show, the go-to place for all Millwall fans. Tonight, we're looking ahead to a big Friday night clash, Millwall away at West Brom. Before we get into it, just a massive, massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far. The support's been genuinely first class. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to like the video, drop a comment with your thoughts, hit the hype button, and of course, subscribe. Trust me, guys, there's never been a better time to get on board. We've got not one, not two, but three big announcements coming your way over the next few days and weeks, which you definitely won't want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed and you've got us on all your social media accounts. But let's get into the show. Joining me as always to break this one down, channel regular, I've got Dan. How are you, mate? You recovered from the Norwich game?
Yeah, not too bad. I just want to get the Norwich game over and done with it at the moment. Obviously, diabolical game, wasn't it?
It weren't great. I've got to say, I don't think I was quite as down as some others, but it's football, innit, I guess. We've got plenty left to play for, so including West Brom.
Yeah, we've still got 5 big games to play. Anything could happen. There's going to be twists and turns to get the second place, I reckon.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I think it's we all thought we were going to cruise it after Borough, didn't we? And then suddenly all sort of come crashing back down, and that is a perfect example of how quickly things can change, and I think it will change again. Hopefully, the boys have responded to adversity before this season, turn up when we've needed them. Hopefully, they'll do it again on Friday night, We'll go into the first segment, which is the tale of the tape. On paper, this is a game between two sides at very different ends of the table, but the form table does tell a slightly different story. If you look at Millwall, we've got 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. That puts us 10th in the form table, whereas West Brom, on the other hand, they've got 2 wins and 3 draws, which puts them 5th in the same period. So despite sitting in 20th in the league, they're actually trending upwards whilst we're arguably on the way down. That probably reflects the fact that they've decided to change managers, and they're fighting, they're picking up points, they make themselves difficult to beat, which you'd expect from a good West Brom side, a good following. You know, they're a massive, massive football club. Looking at the league table, Millwall sitting in 4th, West Brom are in 20th. So on paper, this is a top end versus bottom end clash. And then you start to look at it head to head, and Millwall are actually unbeaten in our last 5. We've only won 1 in that run, admittedly. And the last time West Brom beat Millwall was February 2020. So you've got to have a pretty decent memory to remember that game. You'd like to think there's a little bit of a psychological edge there, or you certainly hope so anyway. I mean, Dan, hearing all that, does it make you more confident, or does it actually feel like a bit of a banana skin?
We always struggle against, it seems to be, the teams that are up above the top half of the table. We do well, obviously, except for the Norwich game. But yeah, we always struggle with teams that are bottom half of the table. But it's, like I say, it's a game we're fighting for to get something out of it. Obviously, I know West Brom are still fighting for relegation and survival. But no, I still think it'd be a good game, and hopefully we get a win out of it and get up the table, and obviously try and move away from the chasing pack that are out of the playoffs, because it's getting very close now and it's getting nervy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. There's a couple of teams that are starting to close the ground and hitting decent runs of form. You look at the likes of Southampton, Norwich themselves are probably a bit too far away from playoffs now, but you know they'll be hoping. I think Hull are only 4 points away, so there's plenty of teams still in and around the mix. I'm not quite as confident going into this as I would have been before they sacked the manager. Got him Morrison, isn't it, that they've appointed as the ex-player. I'm not quite as confident as I would have been before him, when they had the American guy that didn't win a single game when he was in charge. But here we are, and we actually seem to have a decent run against West Brom. I can't remember the last time we lost against them, actually. I can't remember that game. It was so long ago. I'm probably jinxing it all now, and I'll touch wood, and hopefully we don't put the mockers on it. But we're, as I said earlier, we're a side that whenever we've asked the boys to sort of turn this around and fix it and put in a good performance after a disappointing showing, they haven't they? So I do back him again. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, yes, I agree. It seems to be every time they lose a game, they see definitely improve the next game, don't they? And obviously get something out of it, even if it's a draw or a win, you know. I can't remember the last time we actually had 2 defeats on the spin like this season. It's been quite a while, hasn't it? But yeah, it's like I say, it's going to be a big game. Both teams are fighting for something. So hopefully the boys are up for it.
Yeah, and West Brom, if you look at the last 5 games, I think they've got results against Wrexham, Hull, Southampton. So they're themselves, they're clearly in decent form. It's not like they've been playing sides down the bottom. They've been beating sides up in the top of the table that you would say on paper are the favourite. So, or maybe not beating, but drawing them at least. So it's going to be a tricky one. But we'll go into our next segment, which is the key battles that could decide the game. The first key battle we've picked out is Isaac Price versus Tristan Kramer. Isaac Price, one of West Brom's standout threats this season. He's got 8 goals and 1 assist from the wide left area. He's not electric in terms of pace, but stylistically he's quite similar to someone like a Femi Aziz. He wants to beat his man, he wants to cut inside and make things happen on his right foot, obviously inverted from Aziz, who was the guy on his left. Up against him, you'd assume he's Tristan Kramer. Now, normally you'd back Kramer all day in this league against anyone. Recently, for me anyway, I think it's looked a little bit leggy, and arguably I think it's been more effective centre-back than he has at right-back. So this is going to be a test for him. And is this one you think we should be worried about?
I don't know. It's, like I say, with Christian Kramer, he's been a bit off at the last few games. Like I say, you would have thought up against anyone, he'd be there, but it just seems like, is it tiredness? Is it nerves? Who knows with Kramer at the moment? But I still have faith in him. Alex Neil has faith in him. It depends what Kramer turns up, really. If it's the Kramer that we've seen all season, he's going to have a field day against him. If it's the Kramer we've had the last couple of games, then Isaac Price is going to have a field day against him because he's not been on it. So I still have, like I say, Kramer's a great player. I have faith in him, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's just these couple of off games he's had and he knuckles down and does well.
Yeah, I've got to say, mate, I think it's probably for me. I think he's just looked tired. Like, I think he must be one of the only players that's not, from memory, I don't think he's missed a game this year. He obviously avoided that suspension. I don't think he's had an injury yet. Then touch wood. So he must be absolutely knackered, and I think we've seen that the last couple of weeks. I don't know. I think that's why maybe he looked better at centre back, because we're not asking him to quite bomb up and down before. We're asking him to just sit in the centre and kind of hold his position. And I think that's maybe where he's been more effective in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the disadvantage to that is you're then looking at someone like a Caleb Taylor and saying they might have to drop out the side, or you're looking at a Ryan Leonard or Danny McNamara, who haven't got the same level of quality, and asking him to come in. So I get why he's played out there, but I don't know. I just think he's been better at centre back. Moving on to our next key matchup then, you've got George Campbell versus Josh Coburn. This one is interesting, I think. George Campbell is solid, the American centre-back, but is a little bit average, I think, in the aerial duels. I think he does struggle in that department. He's 6'1", he's a big guy compared to Josh Coburn. He's not obviously the unit that he is. And I think this is where maybe Coburn sort of comes in, and you like to think gives us an edge in that sort of situation. Josh Coburn's been in serious form recently. He's aggressive, physical. He's proper handful for centre-backs, and he's been scoring goals. If there is a mismatch there, it could be in the air, and you'd like to think it's something that we could exploit. And I mean, Coburn's form lately, do you see him getting better in this one?
To be fair, like I said, with his form at the moment, Josh Coburn, he's just on fire, isn't he? He's battles with people that are bigger than him. It's just unreal. Just the way he holds up the ball, you know. Like, I know sometimes you say he might not win the ball. It might be a bit of a disadvantage for him, but I've seen him a couple of times win the balls in the airs, but he's more of a person you would thought he likes it to his feet, and he likes to like body people and like hold them up. And I haven't really seen much of that Campbell, so I haven't really got an idea of him. But like I say, Coburn's on fire, and he can think of, he'd be up against anyone at the moment. And like I say, he's scoring goals. He's doing well since he's come back from injury. So yeah, it's going to be like a little mismatch, but I'm sure he be capable and confident that he can beat anyone.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. And I think the thing with looking at West Brom centre-backs, I think the other one's that Nat Phillips, that was at Liverpool a while ago. I don't really rate either of them, to be honest with you. I think both of them are a little bit of a liability. You can get at both of them. But I think Phillips is the better one. Obviously, he's taller, more experienced at this level, or in English football anyway. So I just think that's probably why I'd say to look at Campbell in particular, sorry. I've got to say, I think either of them are positions where we should be looking at them centre-backs going, there's a real opportunity there to sort of make them feel uncomfortable. Moving on to our final matchup, and this one's a real opportunity, I think, for me, and it's an opportunity for us to get at them. And it's Danny Imre versus Camille Negley. Danny Imre's young, fairly inexperienced, only played 11 games this season for West Brom's first team, up against Camille Negley, who's been excellent recently, especially away from home. I think it's worth calling out. The key point for me here, I think, I don't want Negley drifting around the pitch this week like he tends to do. He tends to sort of pick up these difficult areas. He goes into centre mid, he turns up on the right, turns up front. I don't really want him doing that. I want him to be more direct. I want to run at his fullback and cause more problems, get more shots away. And I think the reason I say this is we've got 5 games left and we're going to need players to sort of step up. And we need Negley in particular, I think, for me, to add some of the end product, some of the numbers, just to match his overall performance in the next 5 games. We are looking for someone to sort of step up and be a hero almost, don't we, really? And I think Negley, for me, is someone that can do that. I don't know what your thoughts are, not just for Friday, but for the whole season, really.
Yeah, no, Negley's he seems a player who's improved every game he's played. And obviously, the more games he's played, he's just improving, and the confidence in him, you can see, is unreal. You know, like he just wants to. He's a player that always wants the ball, and he always wants to drive at players, taking them on, doing the little skills here and then, and trying to whip the balls in if he's out on the left wing. But yeah, no, he's definitely grown in confidence as the season's got on. Obviously, everyone thought when he first come in he was a bit off, but he knows the ability, and it seems like he's showing the ability, that the reason why Millwall bought him. He does seem to always want to get back, defend, which isn't a bad thing, because obviously he wants to help out, but I get these bits, because when he does have to drop
criticise
back...
him for it. Yeah, you can't
No, you
criticise
can't.
him.
When he does drop back, he then loses that ability for when he does go attacking wise, because he's having to help and defending. So yeah, no, I agree. He's a great player, and I have full faith in him and his ability.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same, Matt. I think ability-wise, he's clearly, technically on the ball, a cut above most of the other players we've got. I think the one thing that I'm looking at is you kind of saw some of the highlight montages when we signed him of these just absolute screamers that he was getting in the Dutch league, and he's scored a couple of good goals for us. But you think to yourself, what I really want to see this week is just you get the ball in these pockets of space, turn, have a pop, just have a go, mate, really, and see what you can do. It transitions me on to the next segment quite nicely, which is the opposition under the microscope. So taking a look at what West Brom do tactically, where they're strong, where we can get at them a little bit. We'll start with what they do well. They are a really good aerial threat. They've scored the 5th most headed goals in the league, which is pretty high. Now, normally you'd say that suits Millwall, with us being quite strong, physically dominant in the air. But recently, I think we've just looked a little bit vulnerable, particularly from set pieces. So I think that's something for us to watch out for. It's normally a strength of ours, but something we need to be on top of. And the second thing to call out is how West Brom move the ball. They rank 4th in successful passes behind only Middlesbrough, Southampton and Swansea, which, again, I think this is really interesting for Millwall because we're quite happy without the ball. So you'd think for us, we'll almost be sitting there looking at that going, you can have it. We're going to back the fact that you haven't got the ability to do anything really with it. We'll press you high, we'll win it high, and then we'll counter. So, I mean, Dan, it'd be good to get your thoughts, mate, but on paper, it actually feels that some of the things they do well maybe suits us.
Yeah, no, I think it does suit us. I say they've improved massively since James Marsden's come as Morrison, I think, is as the manager. He's a manager as well. Like, he knows the club. He's played for him, so he's got the understanding and the opportunity, like what he can get from the players. So it's going to be a tough game. I know Mill's form recently hasn't been great, but I think the boys are definitely up for it, and we got the ability to win any games when our boys and Millwall are on top of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And as I said, like I just think I'm looking at some of the stuff they do well, and there's some games where you think, like, for example, the whole game, Hull almost play like an away team, right? They don't want much of the ball. When we played them, I did sort of think to myself that could be an issue for us. Stylistically, we're not going to like that. This actually, the complete opposite. I look at what West Brom do well and think to myself, we can get at these. You know, we have a setup and a system that probably lends itself to playing in, particularly away from home, games like this where we can just sit off, take our time and wait to exploit a mistake or two. But moving on, we'll look at where they struggle. So the main one to call out really is just quite simply goals. They average just over 1 goal a game, and even that's been massively boosted in recent weeks, or even worse before that. So defensively, if we do our job, we should be able to keep them out and keep a clean sheet. And then, you know, you're only looking at 1 goal to get 3 points. And it is a big one. And one of the reasons I did call out Negley earlier, they've conceded the highest percentage of goals from outside the box in the league, which is a remarkable stat, really. They're like 10% higher than anyone else. So it's far and away they're the worst side when it comes to goals from outside the box. That's a really clear weakness. And when you look at some of the players we've got, like Ivanovic can have a shot from outside the box. Could in Holland, so I don't see why he can't do it now. Aziz we've seen do it. Bannon we saw us do it at Wednesday. They're all capable from distance, but maybe we haven't seen enough of this from them in the Millwall shirt. So I think the message for me is quite simple, really. Shoot early, shoot often, and just test the goalkeeper, see what you can do. And what's your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's what we're lacking on. Sometimes we don't seem to shoot enough outside the box. You know, we always seem to be going out on the wide and trying to get the balls into the box to get the header on. We know our players are capable of doing it because, like I say, when we last played West Brom, look at the goal against Femi as he scored against them. And like I say, Negley scored a great free kick outside the box against Watford. You know, obviously, Kelly Taylor's a cracker. Our players are capable of doing it. It's just having that confidence to do it, you know. We don't always have to just rely on going out on the wing and getting the balls in to try and header it. Alex Neil's probably got a game plan like he has on every team we're playing currently at the moment. I'm sure if the game plan is to, like, if he's seen them stats like you just said, I'm sure he's going to say just have a dig. Because anything can happen, you know what I mean? You could take a deflection, it could go top bins, who knows? If they've only scoring 1 goal per game, it's definitely a game where we're capable of getting more goals than them, you know, because we seem to be getting more goals lately.
Yeah, mate, I couldn't agree more. We do seem to be scoring quite a few recently. So it's definitely something where we should be sitting there thinking they don't score that many. We have traditionally a really good defence. So let's try and get ourselves another clean sheet. I don't know if we still do, but at one point we had the most in the league. So get back to that and we'll go from there. But we'll move swiftly on to our final segment of the show then, which is the lineups and the score predictions. This is what I think we should go with. And I'm actually going to make 3 changes to the starting 11 versus Norwich. So Patterson, as you'd expect, will stay in goal. No questions asked there. In defence, I'd actually put Lenny at right back in for Tristan Kramer. This isn't like a knee-jerk thing after Monday. I mean, he didn't play well, but he's a cracking defender. So this isn't me trying to like have a little dig at Kramer or anything. I just think he's looked tired recently and I'd be tempted to give him a little bit of a rest. And you're looking at thinking if we have to change things later on, you can bring him on and that athleticism on the right-hand side would be a real weapon, I think, going into the second half if we had to. So it's nothing against Kramer. I think he's class. I just think he needs a bit of a breather. Next to them, I'd have Taylor and Cooper at centre-back. Zach Sturridge stays in at left-back. So other than that, defence unchanged. And I know that Tristan Kramer is going to raise some eyebrows and probably get a little bit of stick for it. But as I said, I just think he needs rest. Into the midfield, Espadinor stays in. And another change for me, I'd put in Mazo Sakho in place of Barry Bannon. Again, I just think Bannon in recent weeks looks better off the bench and is more effective when he does that. And I'm also keen just to get some more legs into midfield. I think we really, really missed Billy Mitchell on Monday, and hopefully Derek can bring in some of that. On the wings, Emmy Aziz on the right, Camille Negley on the left, and up top, final change, Ivanovic partnering, Josh Coburn, Kundle drops to the bench. So I'll change it more to a 4-4-2. I think by doing that, it probably gives us more legs in midfield, some more physicality up top, your height, plenty of whip to explore their weaknesses. Score predictions, I'm going 2-0 Millwall, which sounds confident. I don't think it's going to be comfortable, but I think we've got enough. Do you know what I mean? And I think by the end of the 90 minutes, I think we'll be all right. But it'll be a horrible 90 minutes. Makes sense. And what are you going for, mate? And what's your score prediction?
Right, so I know obviously with the game against Norwich, obviously we weren't great, but I've kept the back five. So obviously Patterson in goal, obviously Kramer, Cooper, Taylor, and Sturge. I don't know. I just think it's one of those games that it was off. I think that it won't be like the same this game. I think that it's just a one-off game, maybe. I've actually kept Bannon in because I thought he'd done well like Monday, so I thought he should start. And I've also gone this time. I've actually partnered him with Negley, so I think them two do well. On the left, I've gone with Watson. I just think he's got the capability of driving at players. Obviously, he hasn't had much time this season and game time, so I've gone with him. On the right, obviously Aziz, you know what he's capable of doing, and like you said, top two with Ivanovic and Coburn. Like I said, last season we see what them two are capable of doing, and it seems to be every time if Coburn's starting up top on his own and Ivanovic comes on as a sub, the pair of them just changed the game. You know, they caused so much grief for the defenders, and like I say, they both got goals in them. Ivanovic scored a great goal against Norwich to put us up 1-0. So they both got goals in them, and they both got confidence, and I just think they will bully any defence when the pair of them are together. My score prediction, I don't think we're going to get a clean sheet because for some reason, I don't know why, we're giving away goals at the moment. So I still think we're concede, but I think we'll win 2-1. But the goal scorers, I think, are going to be Ivanovic, and I'm going to go with Negley.
I just realised I forgot to do my goal scorers. I am going to copy you of Negley. I think he's definitely going to get one of them. And the other one, I'm going to go with Caleb Taylor. In his return against his old side, I think he's going to nick one. They're going to all be up in arms. Right, brilliant. That's been your West Brom warm-up. Massive thank you to everyone for tuning in. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you like, comment, hit the hype button as well. And then, of course, make sure you've got yourself subscribed. Don't forget, we've got some really exciting things coming over the next few weeks and days. So make sure you keep an eye out. This has been an 885 show. See you next time.